Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is Malia. For today's video, we have what to expect when visiting Medellín Colombia. So I spent 1 month in Medellín Colombia and I was all alone. It was just me and I was fine. So everyone needs to calm down. If you take the safety precautions and advice from others, I feel like you'll be fine. I was fine. You know, I'm a 5'1", 100-pound woman. And I was fine there for a whole month. Like, I literally had 0 issues. So I'm gonna share some things that I was doing and just some advice for other people because I feel like it'd be helpful to know some of these things. And honestly, a lot of these things were like trial and error. Like, didn't know if it was gonna work or not, but it did. So I'm gonna share what I did. Definitely go watch other videos, go read different articles and blog posts and learn from a lot of other people's experiences because it's going to vary by each person. Just get advice from a broader perspective instead of just from one person. Have your own collective idea on what to do when you're visiting different cities or countries, but for this video especially Medellín Colombia. Without further ado, let's hop into the video. I'm going to talk about 2 more points for this video. Let's talk about money next. Colombia is an extremely affordable country for me, because I'm from the United States and the USD currency is so strong compared to the Colombian pesos. So for me, it's extremely affordable to, you know, go there for a month vacation. Depending on what country you're from, it can be different for you. But for me, I took about $200 out of my bank account and I converted that into Colombian pesos. So I would have that for my time there. And I usually would only use my cash to tip my tour guides and for local businesses, local markets, street vendors. And then if I were to go to bigger businesses or chains, restaurants, not like family owned or local businesses, things were like bigger corporations, then I would use my credit card. So I was fine for the month for the $200, but a lot of the activities that my school had, we had to pay in cash. I thought for my school I could pay them with my card, and so I had to take some extra money out of the ATM, but I think I may have only taken out $50 to $100 more. So honestly, I would say a range from $200 to $400, at least for like USD currency, I would take out for 1 month in Colombia. And if you ever have a lot of extra money left over, you can go back to the money currency places that converted your cash originally, and they will usually take your currency back and then you can get your dollars back. So I would say maybe take out between $200 to $400, and I think that is more than enough. And you can use your card at most restaurants, cafes. Just check though, just to make sure that you can use your card at some places, because some places will only allow you to do cash. And if you're going to a lot more of the smaller street vendors, restaurants, cafes, they usually will only take cash. So just make sure to always have cash on you. If you do decide to pay with your card and you're at a grocery store, if the checkout person asks you, oh, do you want to do it in COPs, in Colombian pesos, or in USD? Always choose Colombian pesos. Don't choose USD, because then you're going to get charged like 2 extra times. I don't really know what happens, but everyone has always told me to not choose your own currency, so I never choose USD. And while I was there, I always chose COP or Colombian pesos. Only carry some cash on you. Do not carry all of your cash on you. If you were at home, would you carry your whole savings in your pocket? I hope not. I really hope not. I brought $200 with me to Colombia and I converted that into Colombian pesos. And so maybe I would only bring like 50 Colombian pesos with me for the day, and I would always keep that inside of my bag, but I would not keep all of the cash that I had with me in my bag. Same thing with my cards. I think I would have my emergency credit card in my money belt, and I would have my normal credit card in my normal bag that I would have with me every single day. So I would keep most of my belongings in my Airbnb. I think it's a pretty smart idea to use a safe if you're staying in an Airbnb or in a hotel or hostel, because there's still break-ins in different areas. And I honestly just left my cards, my money, all of my stuff out on my desk in my Airbnb, and everything was fine. I trusted everyone there, but also I don't know these people, you know. I don't know the gardener, I don't know the house cleaner. I only really knew my Airbnb hosts, and the cleaner easily could have just stolen my stuff. She didn't, thank you. But she could have stolen it, and I would have found out eventually, and I would have been upset. But yeah, only carry some cash on you, only carry 1 or 2 cards on you, and keep the rest at your Airbnb, the hostel, your hotel, wherever you're staying, just in case. Because if you do end up getting robbed, you know, they won't be taking everything from you at least. Okay, my next tip for the ATMs. I would not use an ATM on the street just because I would be kind of nervous about using ATMs when like everyone's walking by. And also for ATMs, to make sure I'm doing my money correctly, I like to have it in English. And if people are like, "Ooh, that's not Spanish," you may seem like more of a target. So I would always use the ATMs in grocery stores, hotels, and the malls. I wouldn't use ATMs on the street. Usually I felt a lot more comfortable just going inside of like a bigger establishment that has security nearby. And also, if you're going to be taking money out of an ATM, don't be taking too much out. I know the international fee can be big if you're doing it multiple times, but if you're taking out a bunch of money, people are going to be watching, and then that can also put a target on your back. So just kind of be very aware of your surroundings when you're taking money out. Make sure people don't see your PIN code, where you're putting your card back into your bag, just different things like that. And lastly, for money section, if you would like to know how much I spent in Colombia, I don't know. I do not know how much I spent for the whole month there, but I do have a video on my channel of how much I spent in Colombia for 1 week, and that week was jam-packed. I went paragliding, I went to Guatapé, I went to salsa clubs, I went to dance classes, I did a coffee farm, I took so many Ubers, I took metro rides. Like, I did so much in that 1 week, and that's the week that I showed how much I spent. And in that week I spent a little bit less than $300, and that was with like so much things included. So definitely go check out that video that's on my channel. It'll be in my Malia and Medellín parentheses Colombia series if you want to check that out. For my last section today of what to know before going to Medellín Colombia, I will be talking about transportation. Okay, first off, let's talk about the metro. They have a really nice metro. I really liked it there. I honestly didn't use it that much because in the beginning of my stay in Medellín, I took Ubers everywhere. Like, I did not even try to figure out the metro. I did one time after one of my tours, and then I thought it was so hard to figure out, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go take an Uber because it's $3. Why not? But later on, I was like, you know what? Even though Uber is pretty affordable for me, it definitely adds up. So I probably should learn how to take the metro. Shouldn't be too hard, and it wasn't. It wasn't. So the metro was extremely easy to use. I will say I only would take it from my school back to my Airbnb, and my school was located in Poblado. So I would walk 25 minutes from my school to the Poblado metro station, and I would take 2 different lines to get to Estadio in Laureles. So that was kind of my trip I would take. I didn't switch it up. I think maybe 2 other times I took the metro to different areas because I went to Parque Arví. When I went to Parque Arví and I used the metro cable, I took a different line, and that was really easy to figure out. I think if you use Google Maps, it will tell you which metro lines to take and what times they come at. I'm not sure if there's an app that shows you the times or the schedules for the metros or trains in Medellín. I'm not sure about that, so I would just use Google Maps of where I'd be going, and I would just follow the Google Map instructions, and that was perfectly fine for me. So the metro card that I had, I think it was $4 in like USD for the card, and then I think each ride is under $1, and I want to say when I was there it was 81 cents for each ride. So if I was going from Poblado back to Laureles, where my Airbnb was at, that whole ride I would take would be 81 cents. And that is very affordable for me. So I really like that. And in all of Colombia, Medellín is the only one with a metro system, which I think is really cool. And a lot of the locals there are extremely proud of it. So they take very good care of it. It's clean. It's not very dangerous. People make it more pickpocketed on metros. I think this one guy tried to pickpocket me, and I just stared at him like, what do you think you're doing? And he like stopped. But besides that, I had no issues being on the metro. If you're on the metro though and you have a backpack or a bigger bag with you, don't wear it in the back. Either put it on the front of your body or just kind of put your arm around it and kind of hold the side where the zippers are. When I would be in Spain, I would always have my backpack with me, but I would put it on the floor or between my legs. But then when I was in Colombia, no one put their backpacks on the floor. Like, I put mine on the floor and I was like, oh, no one's doing this. I probably shouldn't do that. I would just copy whatever the locals would do, and that seemed to work out for me. Just keep your belongings in front of your body and don't keep your eyes off of them. I said this in the safety part of the video, but once again, do not take the taxis. Take Ubers. Do not take the taxis. That was one of the main tips that the locals would share with me. Most of my tour guides, anyone I would meet at language exchanges, the main thing they would say is do not take the taxis here. They're like, we don't trust the taxis. You shouldn't trust the taxis, especially if you have a lower level of Spanish and you can't communicate as well. Take Ubers, take Didi, take Cabify. Any ride-sharing app would be better than taking the taxis. And I'm sorry to say that, because I know some people in here are gonna say that, you know, we're ruining the taxi service. But there's a lot of horror stories about people using taxis, and I value my life too much to be using that when I could be using a safer ride app like Uber. So once again, just a refresher, don't take taxis. Lastly, about the transportation, buses. I never once took a bus. I didn't read much on buses, so I kind of just steered away from them. I didn't even try to use them. I know some people in my Spanish class would talk about them and they weren't the biggest fans of them and they were kind of scared or like nervous being on the buses. Definitely more of a local thing, I would say, to use. When I have visited other countries, I've used the buses and I've never had any problems or felt like any type of danger. But from people in my Spanish classes and just people that I met at language exchanges, they didn't tell me the best things about the buses. So maybe just keep those for the locals that know how to use it. For me, I was perfectly fine with using the metro system because it's extremely good and it was very close to all my locations I needed to go to. So taking the metros was fine for me, and then taking Ubers were fine for me. And for anything else, I would just walk. I didn't really need to take a bus at any point. So if you would like to know more about buses, I would just do different research and look up different articles or watch different YouTube videos. I am not the one to speak on that, so I'm gonna leave my opinion there. That is the end of my first part of what to expect or what to know before visiting Medellín, Colombia. I hope you guys have learned some tips and advice from me. I'm sorry this video is not longer. I wanted to make this all in one video, but I have too much information to share, and I think these tips are very useful to know, and I did a lot of research before going to Medellín, and I'm very happy about the research that I did. So I want to give back to other people and help other people out, because I don't know, I'm always looking for different safety tips and different things to know. When you can't find a lot of it, then you just gotta make it yourself. And there's definitely a lot of videos out there. I watched a ton of videos, I read a ton of blog posts and articles and all that type of stuff. I was reading different Facebook posts, and I don't know, I do my research. I do a lot of research before I travel anywhere, and so whenever I'm able to experience, my own trip firsthand, I would also like to share what I've learned and what I've experienced in my month abroad. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you've learned a lot. If you have any more questions, just let me know in the comments below, or just message me on Instagram. I get back to you guys on there as well. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.